All right, everybody, welcome back to the Titans table for two in the two-tone blue. That's Andrew.
That's Christian.
And times are not getting any better for the Titans, man. Tough season. Sorry about last week, everybody. We had a little bit of scheduling difficulties, and then when we finally did get to record, there's a bit of a sound issue. It didn't pick up Andrew, so it didn't make sense to put it out. So we're just going to kind of mash everything up into one episode here. But yeah, two disappointing weeks back to back here for the Titans. Will Levis had an abysmal showing last week against the Colts. I think, of my opinion, I think everything was kind of set up much better for him to succeed. The line, Leroy Watson wasn't fantastic, but he came in and that line played a lot better than they had
Yeah.
been. And the running game was good. But Will Levis still having some issues, couldn't even reach that century mark for pass yards, which is kind of embarrassing. And then Mason Rudolph this week, same story, not very good showing by the defense this week as well against the Bills. That was kind of disheartening. The one thing that we've kind of been able to rely on all year sort of fell apart. So two really disastrous weeks by the Titans.
Yeah, for sure. It seemed like against the Colts, Callahan was almost like afraid to call plays for the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Protecting Levis, and I think you got to help him, but not protect him. I really think you just got to kind of let it loose and let him learn on it. And then this week, Rudolph is what he is. I mean, he was efficient in some of the parts. He definitely held the ball longer than Levis does, and the line wasn't as good. But I do think that probably contributed to some of the pressures that we had, other than NPF coming in and just sucking again. And then for the Bills, like the defense tailored two halves. I think we started with like three straight 3-and-outs,
Mm-hmm.
and just you get wore down over time. And when you're missing key parts like Snead and then Murray goes out,
Yeah, I mean that's you touched on a point there as well. That is kind of I'm going to be knocking the coaching a little bit a few times throughout this episode because I think the last 2 weeks I think Callahan's been fine. I haven't really had too much issue with him up until the last 2 weeks. I think the last 2 weeks have been horrible. Um,
yeah,
just the challenge calls have seemed stupid. Just I hate to put it that way, and with all due respect, it's stupid. Uh,
yeah,
Holding the flag on certain plays that you should throw it, throwing it on plays that it seems silly to me. And that's another thing that you touched on it slightly there. Leroy Watson came in and made us at least feel, but there's not a good right tackle on the team. Okay,
he's not
but
good, but it seemed like he fought. He fighting at least.
yeah, he wasn't. It wasn't near as embarrassing. I mean, I can't remember what his stats were. I think if I'll try to pull him up real quick for that game. But then we come out and Jalen Duncan's on the field, and I was a little bit confused by it. Let's see, Leroy Watson. Yeah, he had two pressures, and zero sacks in his start off the street there, and I just didn't understand that. And so then Jalen Duncan gets hurt, and in comes NPF with another embarrassing game, and I find out that Leroy Watson isn't even active. So I
Yeah,
just
that's been
didn't
really
understand
weird.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
didn't
been really
understand that one
strange.
at
I mean,
all.
I know they're just trying to find an answer, but you're not going to find that answer in October.
That makes me wonder. It's one of
So
those things when you see stuff like that, it screams no one knows what's going on. You know, it gives you those kind of vibes. And it's not comfortable. It's embarrassing and it sucks. Quite frankly, as a fan.
I feel like maybe they're trying to get somebody to light a fire under somebody who like just wants to win this job, but talent's not there. MPF didn't even start the whole game. Had 8 pressures, gave up a sack. I mean, Latham gave up 2, had 4 pressures as well. Not his best game, but I mean that was a good D line, and like I said, I think there was like a half a second difference in how fast Levis gets it out to how fast Rudolph. Maybe not half, like a quarter, but I mean a tenth of a second is huge when it
Yeah.
comes to getting the ball out. So I think somewhere around a quarter of a second to a half a second longer. than
Yeah,
Levis. And not that,
yeah,
I mean, Levis might be he's not going anywhere with it, but he's getting it out a
yeah.
little faster.
Well, I mean, I guess the Colts game is much more frustrating. I guess, in my opinion, because it was a game that we were winning the whole time. They looked like for most of the game that the Titans were going to maybe take one there, and it just fell apart in the end. And a lot of that had to do with some of the coaching calls, in my opinion. I mean, it wasn't just Levis, but I mean, Callahan I didn't understand some of his calls. You can't wait until you're losing the game to start throwing the ball. I don't
Yeah.
understand that,
Sort of force feeding Ridley.
and Calvin Ridley not with a great performance. I mean, Levis targeted him 8 times, I think, in that Colts game and 0 catches. I mean, you can't have that.
Yeah, I think Levis had like 11 incompletions and 8 of them were to Ridley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those guys just aren't on the same page. I mean, but I mean, he had 9 targets this game and only had 3 catches.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, and it's
So
not all on Ridley at all. But I mean, he did have a couple drops. He had a couple drops in the Colts game. I'm not
yeah,
sure
it
what the
went both
disconnect
ways. Some
is.
of them looked like maybe Levis was a little bit inaccurate, and some of them were drops, clear drops that should have been caught. I mean, there was a couple of them I have to
Yeah,
protect. I have to defend Levis on a few of those. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's getting any easier for the Titans this year, man. It looks like any team they face is going to be a challenge. They're the worst
yeah,
team in the NFL. I mean, they're the worst team in the NFL as far as chemistry and everything goes. I mean, it's just I don't foresee it getting too much better, and that's unfortunate. But it's gonna be a long ride this season. And I said it on the episode that didn't make air. I'll say it again that this is probably the most disappointed I've been in a Titans season. As far as just, I guess, with all the hype that we had coming in, I was so excited about all the new additions. I just thought that we were shock and surprise a lot of people, and that just didn't happen. It didn't look like it's going to
yeah,
happen. Time's about run out on that. So, and
yeah,
then DeAndre Hopkins isn't even on the field in, you know, late parts of these games now because they're probably going to trade him. That's just my opinion. I don't know. That's what it looks like. It looks like they're probably going to end up trading D Hop, and that's unfortunate. I have to apologize to DeAndre Hopkins that we couldn't find, on behalf of the city and the state, that we couldn't find a way to get you the ball more. You know,
yeah, absolutely.
so I hate that that's probably how that's going to go because I love DeAndre Hopkins in the Titans uniform, and it just adds to that wide receiver graveyard that everybody talks about with Tennessee. He did have a good season here, but here it is again. Tennessee has some really good name wide receivers. Maybe the best core that they've had in a long time, and we can't even get him the ball. Tyler Boyd's been non-existent, in this offense this year. Um, so tough, tough,
Yeah, he had
tough,
a
tough
decent
season.
game, man. 5 for 43. Yeah, I mean, D Hop, like I said, standing on the sideline, not even looking like he's about to go in. Just looked
Yeah,
disconnected. Didn't have the best, um, facial expressions and stuff that he's
yeah,
going on. And I don't blame him. Like, I mean, I don't hold
yeah.
that against
No,
him at all.
no, not at all,
So
not at all. And I wish him
you
success
go up
wherever he does end
10-0 and
up.
then get
But
outscored 34-10 after that. You know,
yeah, yeah.
this
Well, and to
something's
have
got to
your
give in this. We even up 10-7 and a half.
yeah,
And
yeah. Yeah, it was a good. Yeah, there was a
and
good.
the
It
thing
was
is,
looking like a good game at first, and then it just all fell apart second half. Just they blew it open.
it's been the story all year. I mean,
Hmm.
we're not closing out games, especially in the fourth quarter, but second half in
Yeah,
totality. Just I saw a stat that the Titans haven't won a game either at Tennessee or Miami since 2022
wow. Yeah,
or
that's
something
rough.
crazy like that. I'm not sure if it's true. I mean, I didn't do the research on it, but I was like, dang.
No. Well, I mean, that's yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to look back at that as well. I don't know. That seems kind of
Or
wild
early
to me.
2023. So,
But yeah, so I mean,
yeah,
just I
it's been
think it's a
rough.
sign of things to come for the rest of the year. Unfortunately, your quarterback can't go out there and get 90 yards passing and expect to win games, man. So Tony
Yeah,
Pollard
Mason.
can,
Mason had 215, but he still threw a pick, and he had the same. And when he got going down on that sack, and he just threw the ball up over his head, I was like, oh no,
mhm. Yeah, yeah,
no.
yeah,
Luckily, it didn't get picked.
yeah.
But he just threw it up.
Um, I guess it's a little bit early. to ask this, let's play this game, man. Do you think Titans are going to be looking for a quarterback in the draft this year? I mean, it's way early to talk about that, but I mean, let's go ahead and go there. I mean, I know people are kind of thinking forward on that already. If you're a Titans fan, you're already wondering about stuff like that. The draft is kind of where you're looking already with things the way they're going. So, I mean, what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think you
Super,
can't
super,
not
super early
look if
thoughts on
anything.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think you can't not look if, especially the quarterback play continues the way it is. I mean, it
yeah,
seems like Levis will go back out there as soon as he's healthy.
yeah,
Who knows if it'll be this week or not? But
yeah.
if things don't drastically change, I think you have to. I mean, you're probably
I,
going to
I
be picking top
definitely,
five if things don't
I,
change.
I think he's definitely going to be competing for the job with somebody next year. I don't know who that will be. Do you have somebody in mind
Depending
that
on
you would?
how bad he is, it goes from a first round pick to maybe a second. You know,
Yeah,
if you like, he
yeah,
starts
yeah,
showing progression, like, well, I still might bring in a later, a third round guy to compete with him. But if it stays the way it is, you're going to have to go first. The two guys at the top of my list are Sanders and Cam Ward. That's the guys
yeah,
I like.
yeah,
Specifically Shador. I'm a big Shador guy. I know a lot of
yeah.
people don't care because they like the
Well, all the
carnival
extra
aspect
that,
around him and
yeah,
his dad and his vocal.
yeah,
But to me, I think he's the best quarterback in college.
yeah. I
He
just don't think
throws on
he's. I
time.
don't think he
He throws
stays
with
here.
accuracy.
Yeah, I don't think he
I don't know. I
stays
think
here if he
his
gets
dad was
drafted
actually
here.
on a podcast and mentioned the Titans.
Well, that's the problem. You'd have to
It's just
have.
something I saw, not that I heard.
Yeah,
But I mean,
that's the
he's like
thing
he's
though. You'd
very
have to have dad's approval on a lot of stuff. Dad's going to be involved, and that's the only thing I see with the problem with it. I mean, but yeah, I don't know. That's way too early to talk about that stuff. I just thought it might be fun since we've lost almost every game this year to talk
yeah,
about something a little interesting. But yeah, I like
not
both
gonna get
those
any
guys.
easier this week.
I'm probably going Cam over Shador for sure if I had the choice. But
That's just
yeah,
purely
I
based
think
on the dad aspect.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's just the whole circus show that comes along with it and the possibility of drama, that comes with it. That's really where I'm at with that. I mean, I just don't I mean it's never worked out when that stuff's around, you know what I mean? It always
yeah,
ends up being a problem. No matter what team it is, it doesn't matter. If they're not on the same page and the player doesn't want to be there and but like you said, I mean, I've not heard what. I mean, I know I heard something not long ago that he was going to go to a team that he wanted to or something. That's some statement they came out with. I can't quote it verbatim or anything right now, but it was just stuff like that kind of scares me off of it a little bit. But you never know, man. We'll see. I think that we're gonna have to improve at that position. I'll be honest, just me personally, I'm out on Levis at this point. Just I think the Colts game really kind of did it for me with him. And I know we have. I mean, it's there's what has he played 14 games or something like that now.
yeah,
And he was injured as well. People gotta remember that they even mentioned that in the game that some of the stuff that he was using, could have made his fingertips numb or weak. But we also mentioned in that episode that didn't get saved that they don't need to have him out there if that's an issue. If his throwing hand is
yeah. If
weak,
he can't make the
then
throws,
that's
then he doesn't
silly.
need to be out there. Um, the thing is with Levis for me is I believe it's like it's all between the ears, and I'm not just saying like the reading the defense play. That is part of it, but I feel like his confidence is just shot at this point,
Well, yeah, it's
and
chaotic.
he's
He doesn't look
second
comfortable in
guessing.
the
Yeah,
pocket. He just,
not all
you know,
because he has all the talent in the world. He has the arm,
yeah,
he has he's more mobile than people give him credit for. It's really it's all up here, and his confidence is just nowhere. He says he's
yeah.
confident, but I mean he's not gonna be like, no, I don't have any confidence in myself right now.
It just
So
hasn't worked out for him at all, man. And unfortunately, he ended up doing, what everybody said he was going to do, and took
yeah,
himself out of the game, and that's kind of one of the knocks on him as well is that he plays a little too hard in certain times when he takes off with
mhm,
that football. He ended up doing exactly what everybody said, and he ended up hurting himself. Um,
yeah,
so I like the tenacity and I like the heart and the will, but man, it's not helped him out this year. It's never easy, especially to have your throwing arm. I guess banged up. So it's just
Yeah.
one thing after another against Levis this year, man. You know.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I guess we should go ahead and get into our final bite. Did you have a final bite for the people this week?
Yeah, my final bite is going to be for those fans. It's kind. I think I've already had the final bite, this exact final bite, but it's going to be a theme with everything that are kind of calling for Rudolph to be the starter. I think we saw this week against the Bills, like that you're not improving much with Rudolph. Rudolph is what Rudolph is. Uh,
Good back.
Levis still has the higher ceiling, if people can believe that or not. But he does. Will Levis still has a higher ceiling than Rudolph, in my opinion. So you
Yeah.
still have to play Levis. So all the people that would still rather have Rudolph in, that's nonsense. If Levis is going to go out there and lose every game this year, let him go out there and lose every game this year. I'd rather do
Yep.
that and be at the top of the draft than try to bring Rudolph in to win a couple meaningless games. So
Yeah.
uh, if Will Levis is going to win the rest of the games of the season, let him win the rest of the games of the season. That's obviously not going to happen, but you get my point. You saw this week against the Bills what Rudolph was and is, and that's what he is. So,
An
yeah,
average game manager.
an average game manager. So, I mean, you're not improving anything, or the Titans aren't all of a sudden going to make the playoffs with Mason Rudolph. So, that's my final bite.
Well, my final bite, and not to attack the defense because they've been the brightest spot that we've had all year.
Mm-hmm.
But my final bite is, although the stats say, hey, we're number one in total defense, still crazy enough, and number three in pass, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
This defense is not elite. It's not, and it will never be elite until we get an elite pass rusher. And Harold Landry is a
Yeah.
great, would be the best number two pass rusher in the league, but he's not elite.
Yeah.
This team has not spent a first round pick on a pass rusher since Derek Morgan.
Yeah.
And I know we probably won't
Long
be able to
time.
this year if we're going quarterback, but this team needs an elite pass rusher to affect this quarterback. These guys
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
the back seven have been playing outstanding,
Yeah,
but
they
they
have.
can't do it all game with no help up front.
Yeah.
So I love Harold Landry. Hardenke's a great guy. He's finding the locker room and all that stuff. Great rotational pass rusher, but this team is missing an elite pass rusher. And obviously, it's
Yeah.
not. I'm not saying go trade for one right now because we don't need to be giving up any draft capital at this point.
No, not at this point.
But that's something's got to be done about that because we've been sitting on Harold Landry and expecting him to be T.J. Watt when he's not.
Yeah.
So that's I've been thinking about that all year. We have an elite.
Yeah.
We don't have an elite defense. Probably have like a borderline top 10 defense.
Well, we knew that
And
that
that's
was probably the thinnest position on both
coming
sides
in.
of both sides all year. That was kind of the one spot that we were kind of the thinnest. So it's been like that all
Yeah,
year.
we said that we needed Caleb Murphy or Jalen Harrell to step up because we
Yeah.
didn't have it.
Oh, and
At
then
the beginning
somebody
of the
like
season,
Harold
I
Landry
was
could be even better. If you
he
get
had some
another
help.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
So as good as
I
he's
mean that's why
been,
at the
he could
beginning
be
of the
even
season,
better.
I was calling for them to trade for Hassan Reddick because he wanted to leave the Jets. But I mean, it's not worth giving up the draft capital now.
Yeah.
If you were
Yeah.
in the playoff race or something, or you were like
Yeah.
a piece away, but you're never gonna with this right tackle and the quarterback play the
Yeah.
way it is. We're not going anywhere anyway.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, NPF might be one of the worst starting tackles to ever exist in the NFL, the history of the. I mean, it's terrible. And the numbers say that. I'm not just being a jerk. Like he's had some of the worst games ever in the history of the
History
game.
didn't play the whole game. 8 pressures, just 1 sack. 8 pressures. A PFF grade of 21.
Yeah, his first play in, he got embarrassed. I mean, I don't know if you watched that.
Got
His very first play, he got
got blown
embarrassed.
right past.
And
Yeah,
it's been like that all
yeah,
year, man. It's embarrassing, man. He's just out there. He looks like a newborn baby deer on ice skates. It's embarrassing. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a tough ride this year. tough season going forward. But hey, we're Titans fans till the day we die, man. Got that two-tone blue running through my veins, man. So
Yeah,
I'll be here
yeah,
suffering
absolutely.
through every game, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. I can't not watch. If we're down
Yeah.
34-10, I'm like, I gotta watch till the last second.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. So we'll get into some other stuff and maybe talk about some possibility with trades and draft picks as the season goes on and stuff. And we'll be here again with you later in the week to preview our next game coming up this week. And sorry about all the
Lion.
stuff this last week. Yeah, it's going to be another tough game, man. Uh, Lions are my Super Bowl, one of my Super Bowl picks this year. So it's going to be a tough season this year. But yeah, just catch
No
us
doubt.
later on this week. Hit the like button down below. Tighten up that like button. Subscribe if you enjoy being here with us. We've enjoyed having you.
Yep.
And any Bills fans and any Colts fans that have found us along the way, we appreciate you guys being here as well. We appreciate all NFL fans, and we all share this love for football that makes us angry and happy at the same time every Sunday. So uh,
Yep.
we'll see you here again this week with us. We'll be previewing Lions Titans here this week.
Yep. And on that note, check please. I'm about to dine and dash if the season keeps going like this.
Yeah. All
Tighten
right,
up.
guys. We'll catch you this week.